Hello and welcome to the United Stand. This is your Manchester United Transfer News Daily, where we talk about all the latest Manchester United transfer news and give it that real fan opinion. And some very interesting discussions to have this morning, I believe. We'll be talking about Eriksen, we'll be talking about Icardi, Barella, De Gea and all those lot. But let's start off with Eriksen. I want to talk about the Italian theme because there's a real interesting theme there with Barella, Icardi, Dybala, Koulibaly. That's from Giovanni Brancini, who is an agent in Italy who's been speaking to Tutto Sport. Very, very interesting about Barella and a couple of others that might come to United. James Rodriguez as well. But let's start off with Christian Eriksen, because I think this is again indicative of the problem that Manchester United now face because of the downing of the tools. Downing of the tools, is that fair? The lack of effort from United players has led to them missing out on top four. And because we're going to miss out on top four, the first player we're going to talk about is Christian Eriksen. The interesting thing about Eriksen is I never really thought he was the right player to come to Manchester United, because it just reminded me again of a sort of a Mkhitaryan, a Juan Mata. Probably more of a Juan Mata, because Premier League proven, and Mata was a brilliant player at Chelsea. We got him, and then we stuck him out on the wing, and then when we've played him at number 10, we've seen the best of him, and I think Eriksen would be the same. I mean, where would he fit in? Would you play him in a midfield three when you've got Pogba? He can't really be box to box, so would we end up putting him out on the wing, where he's going to be an inverted winger? But we don't need to worry about it with Eriksen, because we ain't going to get him. We're not going to get Eriksen, are we? Because we've not got Champions League football, and the one thing Eriksen's used to at Spurs is Champions League football. He refuses to sign a new contract there, which is quite interesting. Obviously wants the move. Where he thinks he's going to go? Well, Real Madrid apparently. And the interesting thing about Eriksen, 27 years of age, only got 1 year left on his contract. Very similar to David De Gea at United. 1 year left on his contract, so the club, Spurs, will need to cash in this summer if they want to take any money for him. And I think that would probably be about £40 million. £40 million for Christian Eriksen. I think he's worth over 100 in reality, even at 27. I mean, what's 27? It's prime-ish, isn't it? So he'd be a player that United, maybe some United fans wanted, but the lack of Champions League football mean a no. And again, I think Spurs have a very good relationship with Real Madrid and wouldn't want to work with us anyway. But your thoughts on that? I mean, personally, I think it's sad that we can't buy a player like that because we can't offer them Champions League football, and that irritates me. But actually, I don't think we'd get the best out of him anyway. Let's talk about this news from Italy, from Tutto Sport. Giovanni Brancini, an agent in Italy, has been the agent to people like Rui Costa, Cafu. He's still an agent now, and he was speaking about the dynamics of the potential transfer merry-go-round in Italy, but obviously Manchester United came into that. He was talking about Nicola Barella, who we spoke about in January. He's a midfielder. He would certainly come in that sort of position that Herrera's probably going to vacate to go to PSG. He is box-to-box, very well thought of, only 22 years of age. Brancini basically saying that, look, I could see him going to Manchester United and this guy can be the next Paul Scholes. Now, I don't like the next this, the next that. That doesn't help. But Barella is a good player, and he is a player that's been quite sought after. Chelsea were interested. I think it was Liverpool or Arsenal were interested. My feeling is that he would be perfect for Manchester United. He fits the age group. You know, he's young, he's hungry. He fits the move, like Cagliari to a bigger club. He's going to want to prove himself. Is he going to be demanding Champions League football? No, he's not. Has he got the potential to be one of Europe's best midfield? Yes, he has. So, and you'd probably get him. I think Cagliari said they'd take him for, if someone offered 50 million euros, they'd have to think about it. Well, that's about 40 million sterling. So I think he would be a good signing for United. My only fear with this is that with Italy, the best young Italian players tend to stay in Italy. So a move to an AC Milan or a Juventus or something like that is probably more likely. But certainly an encouraging player. And actually, you know what? When you talk about Eriksen, and he probably won't want to come because of no Champions League football, you talk about Barella. Barella is the sort of signing United should be looking at. That younger player who's got the potential to go to be top class, but isn't at that club at the moment, and would thrive in a move like United and would want to come here and wouldn't be saying, I'm coming to you because you're paying me 20% more than Man City. I don't think that's how it works. So that would be a good signing. But Brancini also talking about the dynamics of Italy this summer, and very interestingly he spoke about Dybala, which fed into Icardi. Now, we know Icardi's going to leave Inter Milan. We've spoken about maybe an Icardi swap deal with Lukaku. It was Di Marzio who spoke about that last week, didn't he? And said that there's a concrete exchange that could work there. Interestingly, Brancini was talking about a swap for Dybala and Icardi. Dybala at Juventus, Icardi at Inter, swapping over. Says Dybala is not happy at Juventus and Juventus are looking to cash in, and that swap with Icardi could well work. I personally don't think we'll see a swap between Dybala and Icardi. I think that we'll see Dybala leaving Italy. Now, again, Dybala is another player that many United fans like, and he is a player that has been linked to United quite a lot. But again, is Dybala going to come to Manchester United? I think he fits into that category of, yes, you can bring him here, but you're going to have a situation maybe where somebody else wants Dybala, a bigger club, maybe a PSG, maybe a Barcelona or a Real Madrid or maybe a Man City, and United go, yeah, we'll pay you 20% more than them. That's not what this can be. And I don't think Dybala will fancy Manchester United without Champions League football as well. So I think Dybala is we speak about what's on the shelf and what's not on the shelf now. And I think Dybala is a player that maybe 3 months ago, when we thought we were getting Champions League, was a potential signing. I don't think he is anymore. I think Icardi could be. I mean, Inter Milan, they've hardly made any great shakes in the Champions League, and that could still be a possibility. James Rodriguez was spoken about. But more, I'm a big fan of James Rodriguez. Would he be the right signing for United? I think James Rodriguez is a bit like Rabiot. I mean, Rabiot again, they talk about Rabiot going to Juventus now because Juventus like signing these players for no money, like Aaron Ramsey, and I think that they feel that they can get Rabiot to go from PSG to Juventus because they've got Ronaldo. I think we should swerve Rabiot. I know a lot of you don't. I think we should swerve Rabiot. I think he has got a bit of an attitude. And again, because he's a free agent, I think the only reason he'd come to United over Barcelona or Juventus would be for the money. And I don't think a player that's got a questionable attitude and then you're bringing him here because we're paying him more money, that's not the right attitude for me. And I think James Rodriguez, I don't want to put him into that category, but James Rodriguez is into his late 20s now. He's not really settled at a club for 3 years. Is he coming to United for the right reasons? Is he coming to United to work hard? And as much as I like him and I'd be excited about it, I don't think that that's the right sort of player for me. Interestingly, bringing it back to United more concretely, Koulibaly is a player that we've been linked to heavily. I don't think that the Champions League football would necessarily preclude Koulibaly coming to United. I still think there's a possibility that that could happen. Whether it will or not, I don't know. But interestingly, Brancini was saying that Insigne, the Napoli forward, probably will leave this summer, which could mean Douglas Costa coming to Napoli. But Napoli's big aim this summer is to retain Koulibaly, so maybe Koulibaly won't be moving at all. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. But look, I do think that was a very interesting interview with the Italian agent by Tutto Sport, because obviously he's got an insight into what's going to happen in the Italian transfer window. And Barella is a player that I don't know whether we'll end up getting him, but I think he is the right sort of player for Manchester United, of which there's quite a few. There's a few players that fit into that category. Hirving Lozano, I think, is that sort of early 20s player that would come to United to fight. I think maybe Steven Bergwijn, who's at the same club, PSV. Leon Bailey. I mean, we're talking about wingers there, and obviously Jadon Sancho would be nice. I don't know whether we can get him. But into that midfield area, that's the sort of player that we need to be looking at. Barella would be very, very good, I think. Bringing things a little bit closer to home, Guillem Balaguer makes me laugh. The Spanish bloke who's not really Spanish, and it's Steve from Essex. I'm only joking, he is Spanish, but he acts like he knows what he's on about. So what's his latest nonsense? His latest one is that Hudson-Odoi could join Manchester United. I don't know whether he realises that Hudson-Odoi is actually out injured with a bad injury and may not kick a ball before September. So why would United buy somebody who's injured? On top of that, he may only have a year left on his contract at Chelsea, but Chelsea won't sell him to an English club anyway. So it's a no. It's a no as far as I'm concerned from that. And also it's from Balaguer, so I think we can take it with a strong piece of salt. De Gea, I've got to mention David De Gea. PSG apparently hotting up to bring De Gea in. And I think it goes back to what I was talking about at the start there with Christian Eriksen. Very similar situation. Both Eriksen and De Gea only have 1 year left on their contract. This summer is pivotal. We've heard before that United won't panic and they will go into next season and keep De Gea and try and get him on a contract. I think it's a very dangerous thing for United to do. This summer's the last chance to get a decent figure for him. You can do it in January, but it's going to be minimal. PSG apparently really want De Gea. I think De Gea wants to stay at United. I really do think De Gea wants to stay at United. I think there's been If you think about some of the things that Mourinho has said and Solskjaer said about this contract with De Gea, there's always been an indication that he's going to stay. There's always been an indication that he's going to sign. And I think the only reason he hasn't is because he feels devalued by the club because they won't give him what he thinks he's earned over the last 6 years. And, should a goalkeeper be being paid 350 grand a week? No. They probably shouldn't. But the problem is United have made a rod for their own back by giving Sanchez £400,000 a week. And also, De Gea in a Manchester United shirt, unlike many players in the last 6 years, has actually proved his worth time and time again, despite his recent form. So, if PSG came in for him and De Gea said he wants to go, United might have to sell him this summer. How much would we get for him with 1 year left on his contract? I'd say somewhere between 50 and 70 million. I don't think you're going to get any more than that with 1 year left on his contract. If he decides to go, PSG, they're in a one-horse league. They're going to win that league, and they might just say, look, we'll wait for you then, David. Stay for another year, we'll wait for you, and we'll get you for free, and we'll make it up in wages. So, he could go for as little as 50 million. He could do. We'll have to just wait and see what happens with that. But it is a little bit worrying. It is a little bit worrying, and we'll have to certainly wait and see. Please do smash a like on the video if you're enjoying Transfer Daily every morning at 7 a.m, Monday to Friday. Really enjoying doing it. It's going to be a long summer. There's going to be a lot of ups and downs. So we're sort of setting the tone on the channel at the moment in relation to what is going on and how it might all work out. But get your comments in below. If there's any particular players you want us to talk about, especially before the transfer window opens. The transfer window opens on May the 15th, I believe, and it closes on August the 8th. So we're sort of in that build-up period. There's a lot starting to roll around transfers. United certainly will know who they're going for. Thanks everyone for watching. Back again at 8 o'clock tonight. Please do smash a like on the video. Get your comments in below. Do you think Barella's the sort of player that we should go for? Would you take Eriksson if we could get him? Is De Gea going to go? And what do you think about Icardi? Can we get him? Do you think Koulibaly's a possibility now? Get your comments in below. Smash a like on the video, and I'll speak to you all soon.